That's right.
Realm family, welcome to a special edition of Wrestling with the Realm. I am one half of the best wrestling podcast tag team in the game, and my other half. Today, we can say he is the body to my Pat McAfee. We are the Wrestling with the Realm podcast mega powers. Brian, welcome.
Well, Will, back here, Jesse Ventura, I come back and I haven't been here in over 40 years. In 40 years, the wrestling business has gotten bigger. And it's because of you fans out. It's so big, they won't let me do commentary for the whole show, just for the main event. But you know what, McMahon? Oh, I'm sorry, old habits die hard. Will, welcome to Saturday Night.
Man, spot on, spot on. Killed the body impersonation. You have it on lock, man. All these impersonations.
There's no solid S's anywhere with Jesse. Everything is,
No.
you wouldn't say, I've seen the documents. You would say, I've seen the documents. You do that type of thing. He's a fun one.
Yeah, let's just get right into it. I mean, it was great having the body on. It
You
really
know,
was.
Will, it was like I feel like it's 1989 all over again. I put on my surf style windbreaker, threw on
I
the
love it.
Oakleys, went to the movie theater, saw Batman in the movie theater, came home on a Saturday night, turned on NBC, and I got to see Saturday night's main event. I got to see Hogan defeat the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart for the heavyweight championship. I saw Jimmy Snuka go up against Greg Valentine. We had the Beefer Brutus Beefcake against Randy Macho Man Savage. I mean, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was back in 1989, and I loved it. I loved
Yeah,
it.
the presentation of the show was just phenomenal. It really felt super retro. I mean, having the body on there was a nice touch, of course. I mean, he talked about how he was gone for 40 years about 100 times. He made up for it though because he was talking during that main event. He was running the show like he never left, and honestly, it was great. It
So
was.
it was kind of funny because I'm like, oh, McAfee came back too, which is nice. I like Pat McAfee. I don't really know how people feel about McAfee being on commentary. I think he's great.
I enjoy him. Yeah,
I
I
think he
enjoy him a
does a
lot.
really good job. I think he brings a little something to it. Like it kind of was back in the like he kind of brings a Jesse the Body or a Roddy Piper flair where he kind of bounces back and forth and he's entertaining. So I
Yeah,
always like that. But I was like, damn, I thought that we were gonna get Jesse the whole time on commentary, and I'm sure he'll probably get more with the other episodes, but they kind of wanted to feel it out first. They're like, okay, let's see what Jesse's got. But
he's
when
a
he got
wild
in,
card.
but when he got into the main event and he started rolling, I was like, it took him a couple of minutes, and then he really started getting back into the groove of what he used to do, and
Hmm.
it felt so right when he really gets going and he does his classic shtick that he used to do, where it's like, well, who used the chair? Kevin Owens didn't use the chair. Cody
Yep.
used it. You know what I mean? Like he does that so well, where he does the heel commentator, but he does it in such a good way that he doesn't come off as a heel so much because he's just explaining to you what happened from his point of view. It's my point
Yep.
of view, and that's how I view it. It's like that's how he does
Yeah.
it. And it took him a couple of minutes to get into it, but once he did, he was on point and it felt really good. It was so
No,
fun.
and he really like what I enjoy about him to even to the very end of the match, he was just breaking it down. Like Cody hit his super Cody cutter,
Mm-hmm.
and then he Owens kicked out and he was like, look at Owens, so smart. He's so smart getting to those ropes again. He's always getting to the ropes after the kick out. I'm like, it was refreshing because like you really don't have that breakdown of a match. It's
Hmm.
just very old school
Yes.
commentary. It
Yep.
fit the retro theme, and I really enjoyed having him out there.
I'm hoping going forward they go even more in, well, I shouldn't say I want them to go more into the retro thing. I think that we'll see them kind of evolve into the product that they want it to be for today's Saturday night's main event. But
Hmm.
um one of the cool things growing up when there would be Saturday night's main event is they would do a lot of like themed nights where they'd have a Halloween one, or there was one where it's like a safari and they're going through the jungle, and that's the whole theme of the show. And really, it's Vince McMahon's backyard, but they would always have that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping maybe they'll get into that because it allows you to have a little bit more fun. And when they do, I was explaining it to my wife, because they started out kind of in that first match where on commentary they were giving a little bit more descriptions of what's going on in the
Yeah,
match, or what somebody's finisher is and what it's called and all that kind of stuff. And I was explaining to her that they're doing that because when Saturday night's main event first came around, it was a genius idea that we could get national TV, NBC, on a Saturday night, and we can get eyeballs on our product that normally
yeah,
we don't get. And it's weird because today it's kind of a similar thing where if you don't have cable, if you're not watching USA, or if you don't have Peacock, or uh, CW, all those things where you can watch WWE, Netflix coming up in January, if you don't have those things, you might not see the product. But if you have, NBC, everybody can get NBC. So I think it was
yep,
kind of that same thing that they wanted to introduce it to maybe some eyes that they don't usually get. And because of that, they used to do more of the skits or having fun or having themes, because it used to replace Saturday Night Live on Saturday night. So people were looking for that kind of special TV show, kind of a variety show. So I'm hoping going forward they kind of get into that a little bit more. It's kind of weird because they almost do that on NXT when they start doing some of their, like when they do Halloween Havoc and stuff,
yep.
they're not afraid to do some more of the silly skits and that type of stuff. Um, so I hope they kind of do that stuff going forward, because it's always a lot of fun. And but they kept it very old school. I thought the matches, if you notice, we had a bunch of clean wins on this show. We didn't have a lot of extracurricular stuff. They kept storylines going. They progressed storylines, but they did it in a real old school wrestling show fashion. Like
Yeah,
somewhere Jim Cornette's got to be excited. Oh, they did it right. They put on Saturday night's main event. Everybody's watching that, seeing wrestling, not the new stuff. Like they got, you know what I mean? Like they actually did like a wrestling show, and it was good. I liked it.
yeah. So let's get into a few of
Yeah,
these matches here. Let's start off with what kicked us off. We had McIntyre versus Sami Zayn,
good
and
match.
it was just a good wrestling match.
Yep.
Drew McIntyre, I can't rave enough about. I mean, in the ring for me, there's not many better than Drew McIntyre just because he's so big and so agile and so quick. Um, but it did feel a tad bit. I saw the complaints. Well, that was just a Raw main event match. Well, that's fine. You're progressing a storyline though.
It's a Raw main event match, but it's also the opening match of Saturday night's main event. It's right where it should be. It's the
Yeah.
undercard match. Like
Mhm.
who if I don't see that as a complaint. I actually see that as good booking.
Yeah, I know. I just think that sometimes people want all this drama and all these PLEs, and they just can't do it every single time. I mean, you have to progress storylines. And I know Triple H gets a lot of hate for his slow booking and not having title changes ever, which sometimes can get frustrating. But like, I feel like this was just a good, clean win for McIntyre. he needed it after that feud with CM Punk. He
Hmm.
came out and personally, I know you're trying to book CM Punk and like make him a strong character going into his match with what we assume is Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Sure.
So he needed to beat Drew McIntyre, but at the same time, McIntyre was on a roll and it almost slowed him down losing to CM Punk. So for him to get this win over Sami Zayn, I think it was a big win. And hopefully he keeps rolling. I think Jey Uso's next.
Um, so with Drew McIntyre, I mean, you've heard me say it before. I think even our listeners, I'm sure I brought it up in some of our other shows that I've never been a Drew McIntyre guy. I don't. I know. I know you love him, and I'm starting to warm up to him. This version, and maybe it's because I'm seeing him at a reset point right now and not in the middle of something
Yeah.
um, where now that he's back, like you said, you have to go somewhere after the Hell in the Cell match. You always have to take time off after one of those, and you have to come back and you have to reset the gimmick and the character. And I like what they're doing with him now. I kind of like this version of Drew McIntyre. One, because they gave him, the promo spot to be able to come out and explain what his stuff is. And one of the best lines that he had was he gets it for CM Punk. Why CM Punk joined up with the bloodline. He was getting something out of it. Everybody else, they just did it because Roman snapped his finger. Like you,
Yeah.
Roman snapped his fingers and you guys came running. At least with CM Punk, he can understand why he did it. There was something in it for him. Everybody else, what's in it for you guys to be doing that? So I like that he kind of explained where he's at right now. It kind of puts the CM Punk thing to bed with just that simple line. You can move on from that. And I like that they did that. And I like that I think they tried to do this more aggressive Drew McIntyre before the CM Punk feud. Like while they were doing that, I feel like they were trying to do it. And I know you and I talked about it that I always felt like he wasn't fully in it. They would kind of dance around whether is he going heel? Is he doing some dastardly things? Is he fully engaged? And now I feel like he's in that role. And I think maybe he is a little bit more comfortable with it now that he's working as a heel, but he's almost working as that anti-hero heel where you go, I understand why he's doing that. Like I get what his point is.
Yeah.
And the match last night, it was a good match. It was a good wrestling match and it was a good opener for that show that progresses that story with Drew McIntyre. Like I thought it was really good. I thought they did a great job with booking that match.
So coming out of that, I think the writing's on the walls. I think it's going to be McIntyre versus Jey Uso at some point. Raw, Netflix, maybe the Royal Rumble. I would hope Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre are actually
Yeah.
participating in the
Yeah.
Rumble. So I'd say Raw and Netflix is a good spot for it. Do you think Drew McIntyre will ever get another match with Roman Reigns?
Sure. I totally see that. I don't know if that's anytime soon,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say, I was thinking more soon because he keeps bringing up Roman Reigns, and you know, Roman's the one that screwed him out of the title opportunities, bringing in Solo Sikoa at Clash at the Castle 2 years ago. Could he get involved in the um Bloodline Rules match, Tribal Combat on Raw and Netflix, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa? I don't think so, but it's something to think about for sure.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like I think with this age of Triple H doing long-term storytelling, I think that this is something that maybe they're going to want to cultivate later down the road. They're
Yeah.
planting seeds for it now that Drew's on his quest. I don't know if that leads to Roman yet. And I hate that we have to bring this up on every single show when we talk about these types of things. It all depends on The Rock. It all depends on what's going
Yep.
on with The Rock for WrestleMania, and it's a fact of the business and with the stories that they're telling right now. You and I were talking about how now they're saying that, oh, The Rock won't be available for WrestleMania. Poppycock. I don't believe that. I think that's a bunch of hogwash. I don't believe that. I think they're trying to play us.
Yep.
But so much rests on what they decide to do with that part of the story. I think Drew McIntyre's doesn't lead all the way to Romans yet, at least leading up to Mania. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I was just gonna say two things. I mean, there's not enough time to
Yeah,
get that match and that feud before WrestleMania. And two is The Rock's coming back on Netflix. You don't
sure.
have Tribal Combat without The Rock coming out. And I think The Rock might take out both of them, or he'll align with Solo. Um, I know we said The Rock might come back at the Royal Rumble. I think they're treating Raw on Netflix like its own PLE, though.
Yeah, yeah, they want a big. Well, hopefully Netflix treats it better than they did the Tyson fight because I would like to watch. I'd like to watch that episode of Raw.
Yes, I think we all do.
If you're listening, I would actually like to enjoy that. So hopefully they get that figured out. Um, Maybe that's also where we've been talking about. Is that where we get the Heyman turn?
Yeah,
At
no, you
some
definitely
point,
could
I
get it
feel like
there.
that's coming. Um, so maybe that's where we get that too.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's go on to our next match. I don't think there's really a whole lot to say on it. Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the women's championship. You got anything for me on this one?
Thought it was a good match again.
Yep.
I love the women's division. I love me some Liv Morgan, and I I don't know how a lot of people feel about. I shouldn't say that. I know how people feel about her, but her in ring work, I feel like maybe people are a little bit critical of her in ring work, and I could totally see that. But um, was it interesting? I was just listening to Bruce Pritchard, um, and they were talking about Junkyard Dog, and he said something that I talk about a lot that I feel like you and I have said, where you have um, a good wrestler and you have a good worker, and the difference between those two things are um, Bret Hart was able to be both of those things. Yeah, I gave Bret Hart a compliment. I did.
Wow, that was
Um,
shocking.
Not my cup of tea, but he was a good technical wrestler. He was good in the ring, but he was also a good worker. And I think Liv Morgan is one of those people who she's a good worker. Um, it She gets over with what she's able to do on the mic and all those little intangible things. Like this is a really good character for her to be playing. It's a
Yep.
good spot for her, and she plays that heel champion so well. And this was another example of that, where I think I think Michael Cole might have even brought it up that she hasn't lost a singles match. She hasn't
It's
been
been
pinned
forever.
since. Did he say since Mania? I can't remember if it was since Mania
I
or
think it was before Mania.
was it before Mania? So
Yeah.
I think with that, but then you watch her in the ring and maybe she has some deficiency. She's not Io Sky. She's
No.
not Rhea Ripley, but she's a good worker because she gets over, she tells a story in the ring, and she is a classic heel champion where she finds a way to win. And it's always right at the end. It doesn't matter what's going on in the match, she will find a way to win. And it's kind of going to give another compliment. It's very Ric Flair type thing where,
Yeah.
and people are going to get mad about that and say, how can you compare Ric Flair to Liv Morgan's in ring ability? I'm not talking about their in ring ability. I'm talking about them as a worker and how they're able to get over and how they're
Yep.
able to tell the story in the ring. I mean, Rick would take some crazy bumps and do some silly things and just get beat up and down the ring and then find a way to weasel his way out. Go back and watch his first Royal Rumble in 91 or whatever that was, where he came in and he lasted through the whole thing and he just kept weaseling his way into a win.
Yep.
and it was good. It was great. I think Liv Morgan does a lot of that same stuff. And she did it clean. There was
She
no
did do it
nonsense in
clean.
this one. It was a clean win for her over Io Sky. And I think that's the type of match that is a really good match for her. She doesn't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Um, but what she can do, she can do it well. And she gets heat, she gets over. And doesn't matter if you're getting heat for being a face or a heel, if because you're good or because you're bad. If you can get over, that's all that matters. And she's over right now.
Yeah. And since you touched on Liv Morgan, I'll touch on Io Sky. Um, I was on the internet just kind of looking around at a clip of Io Sky came up, her work in New Japan and WWE and NXT. It was just a bunch of like highlights of her. And the question was posed, is she the greatest in-ring talent on the women's side ever?
Hmm.
I mean, there's definitely a debate there. I know Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair all
Ooh,
have something to say about that. But in the ring, I'm not talking about complete package.
Asuka.
Asuka, yep. There's
Yeah.
phenomenal talent, but Io Sky is right up there. And I know it's coming off of, I mean, Survivor Series, she had a bad botch. And even last night, she fell off the ropes, and Liv Morgan actually saved her and gave her a code breaker.
Yep.
But,
Again, good worker. That's
yep, great worker. I
the
was just
sign of
about
a
to
good
say that.
worker.
Yep,
Candice
it was a
LeRae, I'm
great.
looking at you in War Games when you botched Io Sky and Io Sky. Like, go back and watch that botch when they were going up to the top of the cage in War Games. And it's
Yep.
kind of funny because she kind of gives her a smack on the bottom after Candice LeRae, like, I think she was setting her up for a power bomb or something off the top.
Oh, the
And
sunset
like
flip.
Candice
Yep.
LeRae like didn't go. Like
Hmm.
clearly they were setting up for that, and she just didn't go. And poor Io Sky is kind of left standing there, hanging there, like you know,
What am
ding
I supposed
dong
to do?
because
Yeah.
exactly, and you could see it on her face. So that's the difference. By the way, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's the
No,
difference
I'm
between a
just,
good
I
worker and being
mean, I
that.
think we both have the same opinion on Io
Yeah,
Sky. Um, she already had the title reign. I think it's time for another one. I know that belt is just caught up with um Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and that's the end game at WrestleMania. Rhea came out at the end of the match. There's a bunch of matches I want to see. I want to see Rhea versus Io if that's a possibility. Um, and but if the transfer portal's open and you want to ship Damage Control to SmackDown, I think eventually Tiffany's going to cash in on Nia. But Tiffany versus Io,
ooh, that'd be a good match.
that'd be a really good match. And even like Io versus Charlotte Flair, when Charlotte, who is cleared to come back, I heard she was going to come back last night, nowhere to be found. But when she comes back, I'm sure she's a Rumble return.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Um,
sense.
Io versus Charlotte would be a great match too. Things to look forward to in the future. There's always stuff to look forward to in wrestling. So,
I think so. Where are we at with the women's IC championship?
we are, I think the first round still needs a few more to finish up, or we're kind of heading towards the second round.
What do you think of Io Sky IC champion? Is that
I,
too low of a spot in the card for her? Or do we make the IC championship for the women that working championship like the IC belt historically always was for the men, where that's the working man's title? Because she does. She's always there. She's always working. I mean, damage control was always involved in everything. You could have her really carry that thing, but that might be too low on the card for her.
I don't think it is because, to build prestige in the title, you need a good
True.
inaugural champion, and we'll get to the
Yes, we will.
yes, we will. I know we're excited about that. But you need a good inaugural champion. I know she's not in the tournament, but you could have Dakota Kai win the whole thing, and then Io and Kairi Sane turn heel on her. I think that's a wonderful storyline
Yep.
for Mania. I know it's way too similar to what happened with Bayley and Io Sky Like they just keep kicking people out of Damage Control for WrestleMania matches, but like that would be a good match, and it would build Dakota Kai as a strong face, and it would also, I mean, Io to me is a much better heel.
Hmm. I don't know how I feel about that. I could totally see. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I could totally see her being a face, and you flip flop that and turn Dakota Kai, make her the heel, and
Yep.
make Io Sky the face in that situation, because that it seems like that's been what they're trying to do with Io Sky. I mean, she's working as a face since, how long now? A couple of months maybe
Yeah, a
that
couple of
she's
months.
been working as a face. And you're right about the championship. You want to give some prestige to it. We have Seth Rollins win the inaugural heavyweight championship, so he can carry that belt and give it a rub, and make it mean something. I feel like for that IC championship, it'd be a good match. It'd be a good match if you put those two in there. I think that's something to think about. That could be a good spot for her.
Yeah, no, that would be a good another Damage Control WrestleMania match, and I think Dakota Kai's work has also been really strong as well. She's had back-to-back matches. She's starting to wrestle again. I mean, bar another injury, I think
Yeah.
she's on a good track here. Um, by the way, I heard the rumor mill saying that IC title, that women's IC title is going to Natalia. Please no.
Why?
That's Natalia?
Yeah, why?
Oh, I thought
Why?
you were backing her up here for a
No,
second. No,
no.
please no. I think they want just to give her more accolades. She's already has the most matches wrestled for a women's wrestler ever. I think they're just trying to build her up to really strengthen that Hall of Fame case. She cannot wrestle. She just cannot. Let's keep that title away from her.
So let me ask you this, Will, because you're the person that could fill in this blank for me. The missing link of time that I was away from wrestling, from the Tori Wilsons and the Ivories, and
Sure.
that whole batch. The Stacy Keeblers. Shout out to Stacy Keebler. I met you once. We took a picture. It was great. Um, and is Natalia a not a holdover, but is she one of those people that was in the transition to where we are now? Is that where you would put her, or is she
Yes.
further along than that?
She's probably like, I mean, my earliest memories of her was like early 2010, 2011. She's
Okay.
been wrestling forever. She's been a Divas champion, a women's champion. She was SmackDown women's champion.
Okay.
She's a vet, but like I don't know. It's just not. This isn't her moment here. We need to crown someone new, something fresh, in my
Like,
opinion.
would you say that her and Trish Stratus are kind of birds of a feather, or are they a little bit
No,
further apart? You would kind of group them together in the same category. Is that
no. Trish Stratus is way more impactful for the women's division than Natalia ever
but
was.
like time frame, would are they kind of contemporaries? Like, were they running at the same time together?
No, 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 no.
Okay, Natalia was after.
Natalia was after. When Trish
Okay.
Stratus left, there was a period where like, gosh, who would have been your like ruthless aggression era, like women's wrestlers? Um, gosh, I really have no clue. I didn't really watch that era. I think that might have been an era where both me and you were kind of out of.
Okay.
But she was like, when John Cena was orange shirt John Cena destroying everyone, being the multi-time champion he
Okay.
was, that's when she was kind of on the come up.
Okay. So yeah, so she's kind of in that area of, she's not to the women's division we have right now. She wasn't in the Trish Stratus era. She was in that
No.
in betweeny where we were getting to where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, because that's what my thought has been with her, because she works like some of the people from the past, not necessarily
Yes,
her
yes,
without
she
trying.
does.
And that's not, I don't want that to sound negative for her. It's just that's like Trish Stratus doesn't work how Tiffany Stratton works. Or that, you know what I mean? Like
No, absolutely. I get what you're saying.
it's a different style, and that's fine, but you have to have something else to go with that
Hmm.
to make that pop, and she doesn't she doesn't have that, at least for me. She seems very milk toast and bland no matter how hard she tries.
Yes, I agree.
So no,
But
don't
let's
put the
keep
IC belt on her.
no, let's not. Let's put it on someone new, someone fresh. But let's keep it moving. Let's go to our next match. It was the triple threat match. Um, I know we said we didn't have a lot to say about the Io and Liv match, and we went on a little bit of a ramble there about the IC Women's Championship, but that's exciting stuff.
It is, yeah. I feel like it fits. I think like nobody's going to you guys aren't going to besmirch us for going on a tangent about Natalia. I feel like everybody is on board for that little that side conversation.
No, everyone should be for sure.
A
But
clean win by Liv. I think that's the takeaway from that match. If we're going to put kind of a button on that one, I feel like the takeaway is it was a clean win. There was no Judgment Day. There was none of that other stuff. I
yep,
think Rhea Ripley coming out at the end was kind of a classic Saturday night's main event feel little thing where it's, hey, everybody, if you like what you just saw, imagine what you can see if you watch us again, because these two might be, having a match or something. Like, I feel like
yep,
that was um, kind of classic too. I think that felt with the vibe of the show.
yeah, for sure. Next we're gonna talk about the triple threat match. I don't know about you, Brian, but Gunther looks strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an obvious point, and like that's good. But this Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Gunther feud it's stale. Gunther needs something new. It was a great match, but it needs to be the cap off to the feud.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Um I thought Damian Priest looked good. I I
Yep,
liked a little bit of the, walking the rope, doing that. You're getting some of that vintage Undertaker stuff. Um, which again it felt good for the commentary and stuff. Like it was good for the show to kind of do some of those vibes.
yep,
Uh I think I kind of agree with you that it was a good match. Um Gunther is still a beast. He again another example of a really good worker and a good wrestler is Gunther.
yeah,
He's a really good example of that. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's a little bit stale with the Gunther thing. I think we need to, I don't know, do we move into Damian Priest and Finn Balor have to wrap up what they're doing? I mean, let's be honest. At a certain point, I feel like the whole Judgment Day just needs to go away, right? Like we have to be getting close to just Judgment Day is not a thing anymore.
yeah. Balor has been having like little conflicts with Liv Morgan. It
Mm-hmm.
almost seems like the group is split. He's gonna lose his title on Monday, him and JD,
Yeah.
to the War Raiders. And that might be the end of it. I think we're getting closer and closer to that. I think Finn Balor is gonna have maybe a face turn
Ooh.
soon because I think Liv and Dom are gonna turn on him, and then that could be a match for Elimination Chamber,
Mm.
even WrestleMania, you could do Finn versus Dom, which would be okay. But Dom needs to be on the WrestleMania card. He's way too over. So
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
it's
Boy.
something small for the both of them to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Balor going face, although they're in such a weird spot with Dom because Dom is turning into that heel that everybody
Yeah.
loves to hate so much, but you boo him as hard as you do, but you might as well be cheering him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like he gets that type of heat because he's over, but it might as well be cheers.
Yeah,
There are some
absolutely.
people who get the boo birds, and it's it's part of the story that they're telling, but it's also a little bit of like good example of this. And she's gotten a lot better, and I don't know why people had to boo her so hard, but like Maxine Dupree, like, is it really necessary to be at a house show and boo her in a non kayfabe way? I feel like it's a little bit too much when we let some
It's
other
too
people
much.
get off the hook with uh, some ineptitudes. Um, Not going to get me to say something bad about Maxine Dupree. Uh, but I feel like with Dom, it's that thing where it's like the louder people boo, it's just cheers coming out in the form of boo. And
Yeah.
you can't make that face turn for him too soon. And I don't think they want to do that. Um, so with Finn, you do have to turn him face in that case, or you can just have it be one of those weird in betweeny heel infighting
Yeah.
that you could totally make work because you can't make Dom a face because Liv's not, and you're not breaking those two up
No,
anytime soon. I don't think they're going to be split
too
up.
much money.
Yeah, yeah, they're too over right now. Um, but I think that they need to do something with Judgment Day, and Gunther is moving on to bigger things. They're doing the same thing with him now that they did with the IC championship for him. Like they're putting him where even if you don't like him, you damn well have to respect him
Yeah.
because he's doing the work. And you and I were talking about that, about how, a couple of weeks ago, we go, uh, is he working face right now? Because he's doing all the things that the face would be doing, not the heel.
Yeah.
So that was interesting too, because I'm not sure where you go with him, but I feel like this is just more padding him as a solid champion. I'll be interested to see where it goes because I honestly don't know where they want to take it, but I don't think you can get any more juice out of the Damian Priest stuff, honestly.
No, Gunther and Priest are done for at least the rest of the calendar year, probably past Mania. If you want to revisit something down the line, sure. The matches are always good between those two.
Yeah.
Um, I think with Cody's supposed to be moving to Raw for Netflix, Gunther's gonna move to SmackDown on USA. Um, I wonder where you go there. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with Gunther with that SmackDown talent pool. You could do Gunther LA Knight. Um, you could do Gunther versus a heel on SmackDown. You could do Gunther Kevin Owens. I think there's just a lot of good matches you could get out of Gunther on the SmackDown brand. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I obviously we can't give any predictions. We don't even have any like seeds planted for that, but we'll see. We will see.
Like Gunther just seems like he's one of those guys where they they know whatever spot they put him in, it's going to get over. Like
Yeah.
he's not Ultimate Warrior where you could just throw him out there with somebody and people, boy, he should not be throwing around those two names together in the same sentence. but
Gunther and Ultimate
but as
Warrior.
but as far as God, we might have had this conversation before, and I think it was the same thing, and I felt bad with the words coming out of my mouth because that's not. I don't mean it in that sense. I mean people are going to tune in and they're going to watch regardless of who he's feuding with. All of that stuff is kind of gravy. You want to see Gunther get in there, be a monster, give those big, chops. And shout out to Dom, by the way, because Dom had a good match with Gunther and he was giving him some chops right back, and it
It
was
was a
good.
good match.
It was good to see. Um, so yeah, I think Gunther is, you can put him in whatever spot you want, and you're going to get eyeballs, and people are going to like it. but I'm curious to see what traction they're going to pick up and where they're going to want to go with him for Mania, because that'll be interesting, because all the stuff that we've kind of talked about, he doesn't factor in to two of the big things. But he's going to have something. He's going to have a big spot. It'll be a championship match.
Yeah, you wonder if it is a championship match. You wonder if he's going to lose it. Um, Listen, the last person I want to see him feud with at WrestleMania is Bill Oldberg. I'm done with Oldberg. Um,
Mm.
but that's kind of where it's looking that it's going to go. I mean, Goldberg is definitely, if he said he's going to wrestle his last match in 2025. Um, Gunther versus Oldberg will definitely um draw some attention to SmackDown because I hear a lot of the stars are going to Netflix. So let me give him
Yeah,
some
you got to do
respect.
something. Yeah.
Goldberg was a beast when he was a younger man. Let me be kind, but um
Let's
I
ask Bret
think
Hart what he thinks.
yeah, no, me and Bret Hart might get along with that one. I mean, I'm just not a huge Goldberg fan.
Nope.
His work with Brock Lesnar was abysmal during the dark ages of wrestling when he came
Yeah.
back. Um,
I mean, he might be the greatest cruiserweight champion, though, that the company is. Oh, wait, that was Gilbert. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Gilbert because he was, boy, I think back to some of those Gilbert matches and it was great. My
yeah,
bad. I was confused. I was confused about who we were talking. Oh, you're talking about Goldberg, not Gilbert. Okay, because Gilbert was great.
Gilbert was a legend.
Yeah.
Gilbert might have a better legacy than Goldberg. Um, but I think I'd rather see him wrestle someone else at Mania, but I think it's pointing to Goldberg. It will be a big marquee match anytime you bring out one of these legends, unless you can somehow get Brock Lesnar back
Ooh.
before WrestleMania. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar was supposed to happen at WrestleMania 40, and then all that stuff happened. We don't need to get into any of
Yeah.
that. But I would love to see Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. It would be a huge match. It'd be a great wrestling match. Just two absolute powerhouses going at it.
So I think about the Goldberg thing and it makes a lot of sense and I'm kind of for it. I,
You are.
at this point, it makes a lot of sense, especially for WrestleMania, because you're going to have, you pull out all the stops for Mania, like,
That's right.
and you make a great point with SmackDown too, because if we're going to move uh, Gunther to SmackDown and you need to get something cooking on there, I could totally see them rolling out rolling out Goldberg. That was kind of funny. He's not that old, but
He's not that old, though.
they bring out Goldberg, and I could totally see them working that angle though, and that would be a good match because you can put Gunther over. I think it works for Gunther's skills on the mic because you. So with Brock, I feel like you can push that a little bit further if they can.
Yeah.
If that's something that they're thinking about, I think going through Goldberg first would be great because now you can start to cement Gunther on the mic with a lot of, I'm just burying legends now,
Yeah.
like and the way that he does it, that's why Gunther is really good because he comes off as that arrogant Austrian heel who he's not trying to be funny. He's not trying to do that. Like he goes up there and he does just that classic thing of I'm the best. I'm going to beat you. Oh, come and bring me your legends. Okay, you think that you're okay. You might have been great then, but I'm just going to beat you. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I could
Yeah.
totally see, and then going forward later on, if you want to bring out Brock at some point, now he has that same talking point. I beat Goldberg. How many other people from the past that are supposed to be monsters do I have to go through before people
Mhm.
realize that it's me? Like I could totally see them doing that, and that would be a match for WrestleMania that you could totally see it in your head as one of the, big championship matches because people will tune in for it. Like people would want to see that. They'd want to see Goldberg go
No, I would.
and
Yeah,
lose.
I would for sure tune in for it. And I'm not 100% for it. I guess my big worry is in the past, Goldberg has came back and buried younger talent.
Hmm.
I just don't think he has the time to do that anymore. Like he doesn't have many
Yeah.
matches left in him. It's the same thing like people were worried about The Rock when he comes back. Is he going to beat Roman?
No.
It's not happening. He doesn't
No.
have that many matches left in the tank, so why would he win? There's no point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that with Gunther, I like the Goldberg idea. Like that actually does kind of make the most sense going forward
Yeah.
because post Mania, when we turn the page on all these storylines and we start going further, now you have something cooking with going. You know what I mean? We can go forward after that
Hmm.
because all of the storylines will kind of start over. And now we have a lot of places we can go, especially if um, John Cena is going to be involved. My my prediction of Cody will be going away for a little bit after Mania. You need a monster to chase. When you come back, the chase is always better than the win. So
Yep.
I think that's a really good way to go because you need to get. I mean, think of the logjam that they're going to have for that because eventually, uh, Braun Breaker is going to be knocking on that door. At a certain
Yep.
point, other people are going to be getting up to that level, and then we need to push somebody a little bit further, And if
Hmm.
John Cena is walking on a Mania with a belt, um, I can't think of a better person for him to eventually drop that to than Gunther. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the natural progression.
Agreed. Agreed. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people think that that match is happening at Mania, Cena Gunther, but I think Goldberg is definitely. I
Yeah.
I just think Goldberg lurking. I mean, they built it up for Bad Blood. They had him come out, and there was an altercation between Goldberg and Gunther. I think I think that Goldberg match makes more sense than the Cena match,
Yeah.
which makes me a little bit more confident every day on that Cena versus Cody Rhodes prediction.
Yeah. I that makes it's too right. It's too much like right. And back
Yep.
in the day, I would say that means they're not going to do it because it's too much like right. But with today's crew in there, I think that's where we're going. I mean, if it doesn't, I have confidence that they'll make it work, whatever they do decide to do.
Yep.
But Goldberg and Gunther, that has WrestleMania written all over it to talk.
Agreed.
I mean, that that kind of has it's not exactly the same, but that kind of has a Kevin Owens Stone Cold type rub to it. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
definitely
Like it kind
does.
of has that thing going. So that's what I think is in store for Gunther. Either way, the man is a monster worker. He's great. He's proving that every time he goes out there, and he's only getting better. Like I really feel like just in the past few weeks, he's gotten even better than he was. I feel like the match with Dom and Finn Balor comes out. I feel like that was right. Was that the match where he came out and he dropped Finn Balor too? And who
Yep.
was he wrestling? Okay, that's what I thought it was. I'll have to cut that little part, but that's what I thought. I had a brain fart. But in that match where Balor gets involved and Gunther just drops him too, I felt like that was a turning point for Gunther, where all of a sudden we're questioning: is he a face? Is he a heel? Like what's he doing? And I think that elevates him because
Yeah.
he's starting to get into that range where you like him because he's a great heel and he's a good worker, but you're starting to like him because his character evolution is starting to happen right now, and that's super fun.
Yeah, Gunther is consistently leveling up. It does not stop.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's great to see. But I think we've been holding ourselves back for way too long. Let's move on to it. Our girl, Chelsea Green, first ever
Oh,
United States women's champion. And it was a good match too.
it was a good
She
match.
balled out, man. She
It
balled
was a
out
good
for sure.
match. It was one of those times where we've been saying since the beginning of this thing, ever since she went in and took a huge bump off of a ladder, it felt like something changed. And people have been wanting Chelsea Green, and kudos to her because she plays it perfectly too. Like she does such a great job playing that character that
Yep.
it's what everybody wanted and they gave it to us. Like I can't be angry. I have to love that because it's something that the fans wanted and they delivered it for us. No matter how much we thought they weren't going to do it. And I think that's why it works so well, is because every
Mhm.
time she kept winning and getting closer, you're going, oh man, come on, Chelsea Green. And then as she picks up steam, you start going, all right, Chelsea Green, this is going to be great because people are going to go nuts when she wins. And they gave it to us. It was good. It was a good match.
It was a good match. I thought the highlight for me was obviously the Unpretty Her reversal
Yes.
off the top rope, reverse Michin. I think that was, man,
It was
she's
clean.
underrated in the ring.
Yeah.
Underrated. I mean, obviously, the character is the best thing about her,
Mm-hmm.
but the wrestling it's great, honestly. She's one of the she's not like your Rhea Ripley's or Bianca's or Io Sky's, but like maybe like kind of right there with like a Liv Morgan,
Yes.
and like
100%.
a great wrestler. I think her and Michin have always had good matches. I think about the dumpster match they had
Yep.
on SmackDown a while
Loved
back.
it.
That was a hilarious match. I think they need to continue the feud on it. Honestly, this can't be the end of Michin versus Chelsea Green. So I'd like to see maybe one more match from them.
Like I was lukewarm on Michin, you know that. And I was like, she had a
Yeah,
good match. Um, I get why they booked it the way they did, and it worked. Like they did a good match. And the unprettier at the end with that reversal, it was clean. It looked
clean.
good. It was clean. It looked good. It was another clean finish on this event. And I thought that, again, it was another standout. We got what we wanted. Everybody was pumped for it. Um, man, now I'm thinking the only thing that would have been better is if they had Chin win because it would have subverted all of our expectations and we all would have been beside ourselves. But you know what? We should get what we want once in a while. And I'm glad that we got it. It was
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. I don't think there's much more to say off of that. Except the fact that we're happy for Chelsea. Big Chelsea Green stands over here, so we're happy for her and
I'm
excited for
happy
the title
for,
reign.
yeah, exactly. I'm excited to see where they go with this because it's another example of those those mid card belts that like that's what they're supposed to be for. Those are
Yeah,
supposed to be the ones where week in and week out, that's a they're there, they're showing up, they're having the title matches, and they're working. Like that's what those belts are supposed to be for.
yeah.
And I feel like they've done a good job in the men's division with doing that with the I think the IC championship a little bit better than the US championship, but I think that's what I I think that's what those belts are supposed to be for.
Agreed.
And I think this is a really good one with Chelsea Green in that spot because we're always talking about how stacked the women's division is. You can have a lot of fun with the personalities that they have with Chelsea Green. Um, Piper Niven, what's going to happen?
Oh,
Oldest thing in the book is that we
I'm
have to have
so
a
happy you
turn.
brought that up.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if you're familiar with the Randy Orton getting kicked out of Evolution. It was I guess a little post Ruthless Aggression here, maybe kind of in the middle.
Okay.
He won the world title. Batista had him up on the shoulders, and Triple H and Ric Flair hit the thumbs down. And
Oh,
then
those
Batista
dastardly
dropped him.
dogs.
Yep, they
Oh,
dropped him off the shoulders. I was like, you want to know what? Chelsea Green deserves her moment. But when Piper Niven had her on the shoulders, I was like, are we gonna have a evolution moment here where where she drops Chelsea
Mm,
Green? Eventually that's gonna be a match. It could be a Mania match, to be quite honest with you.
it
They
really
they could
could.
build yeah,
Yeah,
they
it
could
really
build
could.
that feud up. I mean, there's definitely
Yeah,
some potential with her title reign. And this is a singles title.
right,
Jealousy could be brewing.
right. And that's again, it's the oldest trick in the book. But again, that's the kind of stuff that happens though. All of a sudden she get now, I mean, you could totally play that too. Well, I guess okay. Let's say this. It depends where you want to go with Chelsea Green. Do we want her to be a
Yep.
face or do we want her to be a heel? Because right now, she's one of those people who's working, she's been a heel for everything that we've known, but she's
Yeah.
basically a face right now.
Yeah.
So how do you want to work that? Because you could totally play that with Piper Niven doing the classic, hey, when am I going to get my shot? How about you give me a shot? We've been doing, and you just keep playing that game, and that's how because you could totally see Chelsea Green playing that angle really well too. Oh, you're going to get your shot. Don't worry. We're going to, and just never does it. And eventually, Piper Niven's got to, she's got to get her chance.
Yep.
But there's a lot of talent that they can work with
A
going
ton.
forward with that.
A ton.
I think that'll be fun. Excited. Glad that that happened.
All right, let's move on to Saturday night's main event. Um, I think more importantly is what happened after the match, but let's talk about the match itself just a little bit.
Yep.
Good match between Cody and KO.
Whoa, whoa,
I'm
whoa,
gonna,
Will,
I'm gonna let you get it. Just go
don't,
for it.
don't, don't bury the lead for me on this match. What did we get in the beginning of this match?
I was gonna let you take it away, man. I
No,
know you
no,
were
no,
super
no, no,
excited.
Will, you tell everybody what you know I was excited for. Tell everybody what I was just pumped for.
The Winged Eagle
Oh,
belt made its glorious return. It looked great on Cody.
oh, it was good.
I mean, just I said to my dad, we were watching together. I was like,
Oh, your dad had to love it. He had to love
"Oh,
it.
he loved it. Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
was
so
all
good.
for it." And I was like, "Man, I know they can't do it, but damn, if they had that belt all the time, it's just great.
It
It
looks good.
really is."
It looks really good. I was so excited. Um, like again, they know that we all want that. And this was a great way of bringing it out with the whole retro theme. I thought it was perfect to do that. I wish that we could have had a little bit more with it. Um, but maybe going forward, maybe this is something that they'll do for Saturday night's main events. Um,
Yeah,
Hell, bring out the classic IC championship,
I'm
next
with it.
time. Like
Yep.
these are the spots where you can do that. Everybody loves that. Plus, people are going to go online and they're going to be able to sell more merch like that. That's the Disney head on my shoulders, knowing how you run that business that way. Like the more you do that, I guarantee you, they sold more winged eagles last night in a single night than they had in quite a while.
And I don't think there's a wrestler that besides Cody Rhodes that could have came out with it. Like it
Yeah.
just suits him so
Yep.
well. Like I know that he wanted it back and he wanted to keep it permanently when he did win the title.
Mhm.
Man, I don't know. I know Roman kind of had the two belts. He had his own thing. I know we've done spinner belts in the past for John Cena and
Mhm.
Edge. But like, man, if Cody could just carry it around, that would be great.
You're so right how it just fits him. He's
Mhm.
such a retro face walking
Yeah.
around in modern wrestling, which is kind of fun. And it really does fit for him. Like it's so does. I was so happy about that. Okay, continue, Will, with the match. Now that we got my
Um,
excitement for the Winged Eagle out of the way.
it was a great match. Cody and Kevin always have good chemistry. It is night and day for them. They could wrestle forever. They have fight forever vibes for sure.
Hmm.
They just go. And I know there was some like, oh, well, them bringing out the Winged Eagle, it spoiled the match. Of course, Cody was going to win with the Winged Eagle. I think it added a nice touch for what happened after the match, and we can kind of just go into that because I mean the RKO on the table and the Super Cody Cutter were nice, but Kevin Owens with the beatdown of Cody Rhodes to an extreme after the match. Um, I mean this is a little bit more of like my era, but in that break when you weren't watching wrestling,
Hmm.
Kevin Owens was not Kevin Owens in ROH. He was Kevin Steen, and Kevin Steen was a villain.
Okay.
He whipped out his old move last night when it went off air, the package pile driver. And
Oh,
the package pile
I didn't know
driver
that.
is devastating. There was one time, I don't know, this would be a great TikTok clip if I could clip it up. But I mean, he had Sami Zayn, El Generico at the time in between two ladders that are hoisted up, and he package pile drivered Sami Zayn through one of the ladders, and like it was one of the most insane clips ever, and it was just devastating. And I love that they brought it back. It gives me hope that like I know people were upset Kevin didn't win the title last night, but Kevin Owens' heel work, I mean, it's rivaling like a Drew McIntyre for best heel in the company right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of love their little beef. At first, I was like, okay, we're putting Cody on a side quest again until we get to whatever is going to build up for Mania. But this is a good one. Like a
This
couple
is
of
a
weeks
great one.
ago, I think we talked about it where Cody came out and him and KO were going back and forth, and Cody's in the ring, and I was like, ooh, he had an edge to him that he normally doesn't have, and it felt a little different. And kudos to Cody for making that come across because I'm sure people complain that oh he's too baby face. Um, but I thought he had a little bit of an edge to him, and that was nice to see. And in this match in particular, I thought Kevin Owens was really good playing that, like you said, he's not just a heel, he's just like that despisable villain. And
Yeah.
like even leading up to it, wearing the Stardust shirt, or last night coming out wearing the American Dream, baby. Put my head over here, coming out wearing my T-shirt, talking about oh he's the American Nightmare, he ain't the American Nightmare, baby. There's only one American Dream, son of a plumber. Like he came out wearing the Dusty shirt with his
Hmm.
face out, like that kind of little things like that are so
Yeah.
good. And I don't know if you were thinking it as the match progressed towards the end. All I kept thinking was, oh my God, oh my God. I may have called it right for their match at whether it's going to be at Elimination Chamber or at Rumble, where my prediction was we have another match between those two and we have Randy Orton as a special guest referee because I'll be darned if they didn't start to plant the seeds for that we're going to need a special referee with these two because we had refs taking bumps going down. We had each guy got a pinfall without the ref there. Again, old school storytelling.
Oh, old
Um,
school stuff right there.
a regular referee is not going to be able to control this match. We're going to have a special referee to make sure that this thing goes down right. Like, and of course, it would have to be Randy. It has to be.
It has to be the voice of reason.
Yep. It has to be the person who's been trying to mediate these two and try to bring KO to his senses. I feel like they were doing the seeds for that. And I was
Yeah,
very excited about it because it's classic.
it is classic. Two final things to touch on from that
Mm-hmm.
match. After the package pile driver, Cody got stretchered off.
Okay. I didn't see that.
How how long is he out for? Is it out indefinitely? Is he just taking a 2 week break? I mean, Randy got a normal pile driver and he's been out for months. Are they gonna? there was talks about Cody vacating the title, not this close to WrestleMania. There's no way. Um,
When does Raw premiere on Netflix?
January 6th,
He'll be out
I
till
believe.
January 6th.
Okay. Yep, I was
If
kind of
you
thinking that too.
yeah,
Um, I think it's perfect for their feud. They need to have one more match.
yep.
Um, and Kevin Owens was shoving Triple H and got into a little bit of a physical altercation, and like they were shoving each other back and forth.
Yeah,
I saw,
exactly. That's setting up. We need a special referee because Kevin Owens can't be trusted not to,
yeah, no,
take out another ref or something. Yep.
and I saw just a little meme floating around that it's gonna be Kevin Owens versus Triple H on Raw on Netflix. No chance, but man, what a dream match. I know we often talk about dream matches and what we'd like to see. That would be one I man, if we could just go back in time and get that one when they're both in
I
their primes.
I could totally see that. If we could have gotten that match, it would have been great. It's not happening,
Nope.
but I could totally see, especially on that Netflix Raw, where that's where we get Triple H does come out, and maybe we get the special referee announcement for that match, and you kind of have a big thing like that because then we could bring Randy
Yep.
back. Like that makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm all for that because I think that could be a lot of fun. I think that's a good idea,
Yes,
and not just
absolutely.
because and not just because we came up with it, but mostly because we came up with it. But
Yeah,
plus, I think
mostly because
everybody,
we came up
but,
with it.
right? I think everybody would like it though. So, what do you think, Will? What are our final thoughts on this? What grade do we give it?
I'm gonna give it an A. I enjoyed it. I really did. I think people's expectations might have been like, we wanted this title flipped or this title flipped, but it just wasn't meant to be that. It was meant to be like a fun throwback show that progressed storylines.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. I'm giving this show a solid A. They had an assignment, and they did the assignment, and they
Yep.
did it well. We got clean wins. I'm gonna call the Kevin Owens and Cody match a clean win because we didn't have any run-ins or anything like that.
Hmm.
I thought it was a great main event for Saturday night's main event. I think the whole show they did a great job. I'm giving them a solid A on this one. It was a good show.
Absolutely. So solid days all across the board. We enjoyed it. We're excited for the one in January, and
Yep.
we are excited to have you guys listening as always. Shout out to the Realm Paranormal Podcast. Shout out
Oh
to all of
yes.
you. I mean, me and Brian were talking about it a little bit. We're having engagement in the comments. We're having people watch the shows. I mean, it's great. We didn't,
Yep.
that's not the goal when we meant to do this to have a bunch of people view it. It's meant for us to have fun, but to have you guys on this journey with us, we really enjoy it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you guys keep watching. Um, it is a lot of fun for me and Will. We really like talking about wrestling, and this gave us a chance to be able to do that. And we thought that we can be pretty entertaining sometimes. So we thought, why not share it with you guys? So we're glad that you guys are watching and you seem to like it.
Yep.
We got another show that'll be coming up. I think our next show we're going to be doing something new. We're going to be doing overrated, underrated. We're going to throw out superstars' names, and then we're going to go into whether we're going to deem them underrated or overrated. That one's going to be fun. I'm
We're
excited.
really excited for that one.
Yeah.
We are very excited.
Yep. Take us away, Will.
All right. First of all, happy holidays to all of you. And as always,
Thanks
peace,
a
y'all.
lot, guys. We'll catch you guys next time on Wrestling with the Realm. Peace.